everybody? It's Aaron with Robert. Get your geek on, and we are doing the review for the final episode of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
One world, one people. That is the title of this episode. So we're going to talk about this episode in particular, and we're going to talk about the series as a whole a little bit, and then we'll probably talk a little bit about what comes next. So overall feelings on this episode. Again, we are gonna spoil.
Yeah, we're just gonna spoil everything.
So again, if you haven't watched the full series, thank you for clicking on the video, but go watch it and then come back.
Yeah, come back over here.
But so, what did you think of the finale? Just general thoughts, not anything specific.
At first, I was like, okay, because this is the climax. This is all the action that you've been waiting for all season is happening right here.
Yeah, most throughout the season, we've gotten like one action sequence per episode. Yeah. This one packs them all in. It went from the get-go, you're in the middle of it, so we didn't have to tell any more story. We just have to close all the strings, or tie all the strings together, I guess you could say, whatever. And at first I was like, okay, well, it's action-packed, and what a little story. And I think I didn't get really, really invested until about halfway in. Okay. And then I was just like blown away. I was like, okay, I'm ecstatic about this whole series now. I love it. And I was really, really happy. The fights are good, but that mid part, and I think you know where I'm going to go to, is what really hit it out of the park. Awesome. What about you? Okay, so this is where I will say is that I think this episode was a really good episode of the series, and I think the series as a whole was a good series. Right. I think I would say our three main characters, which to me are Falcon, are Sam, Bucky, and John Walker. Right. I think the three of them all had great arcs, great stories, and I was very fulfilled by the story that those three went on. Yeah. A lot of the supporting stuff in the show fell flat for me. It ended up not paying off in a way that I liked or that I cared for. And so this episode did the same thing. I loved everything with those three. Yeah. But a lot of the other stuff fell a little bit flat for me. So I didn't love the series finale, and I didn't love the series. There were moments of it that I absolutely loved. And there are some moments in this episode that I absolutely loved. Oh, yeah. But overall, it wasn't like a 10 out of 10, I love this show. Yeah. It's like, this is a 7.5 out of 10. Like an 8 out of 10. I really like a lot of it, but there's definitely things that I felt kind of fell a little bit flat. And I think some of that probably had to do with everything that went on with the pandemic. They had filmed a lot of this, then they had to stop production because of the pandemic. When they came back, they were under a lot of restrictions. Some of those, it feels like you can tell. Oh, yeah. Even within this episode, and there's one particular scene that I think I want to talk about that I was like, that feels very like, why is this happening? And why is it in this setting? And so I think that was very much like influenced by the pandemic, in my opinion.
Let's go with that. What scene is it first? I want to actually talk about
It's the last scene with John Walker where he's getting his new suit.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, why are they in that location?
Yeah, that's a good point.
It doesn't make any sense, and it really feels like they had to do all their filming with Julia Louis-Dreyfus on one day, and that was the set they were at.
And that makes perfect sense.
That's what it felt like.
Because it's an empty room, like you said, there's no reason for them to be there, really. No. And it's just like, all right, hurry up, hurry. And I like how her little band, like, okay, come on, hurry up. And the wife's like, maybe it's the helmet. And it's just like, and
I liked the scene. Yeah. It just felt very influenced by the pandemic. Oh, yeah. Like, why are they in this setting? It makes no sense.
There's no reason for it. And you're telling me at the same time, because we don't know what department she works with yet. No. Obviously, it's some secret agency that we don't want to talk about yet. But we're in the middle of, like, City Hall or something, right? Because I think that's where they're at.
It's the same place that they've had, like, all the trials. They have John Walker's, like, congressional thing where he gets stripped of Captain America's title.
Sharon's thing was there.
The post-credit scene of this episode was in that same room, and then this scene was in that same room. And the other two, at least, you could say, okay, this is the right setting for those scenes. This one, it made no sense.
It's like, he's going to walk out and people are going to be like, why are you...
Well,
like,
it's an empty room. There's nobody there.
But he's going to walk out the front door, though.
I have no idea.
I mean, if he walks out the front door, people are going to be like...
But that was a weird scene. We don't really need to talk about it. No. Honestly, I want to start this episode off.
Where do you want to go?
I know you directed us last time. Okay. So this is my turn. I want to talk about the things I didn't like. Okay. Because I want to end the episode on the things I did. Okay. Okay? So here's what I didn't like. I feel, and this has been building since the end of episode 3, when the Flag Smashers, when Carly blew up the GRC building and kind of turned, right?
Right.
And then episode 4 was when she had her conversation with Sam, and it was like, maybe he's getting through to her.
Right.
But by the end of that episode, and then into episode 5 and into episode 6, you know, like, you never get a sense that she's actually doubting any of the methods she's taking. I love that she's very convicted about her message, and she's very dialed into what she's doing. She's willing to sacrifice her own life and all those things. I totally am down with that. But I just felt like there was an opportunity to have her show some maybe doubts about how they were going about it.
Yeah.
I mean, in this episode, it's very explicit. Like, she talks about, like, you know, we'll kill these hostages if we have to. And the rest of the team is like, I thought we were going to use them as negotiators. And she's like, no, we're going to do whatever it takes. And she, like, drops their little line, you know, their one world, and everyone's, like, silent. And she does it again, like, say one people, like one world, and you know, like, and so it is really like she just went off the deep end for me, and they set her up to be a really sympathetic villain early in the series, and someone whose cause we were kind of behind, and even Sam is behind, and by the end of this episode, her cause kind of gets fulfilled. Yeah. At least on a small scale, at least in this moment, like, she wins even though she dies. Like, she affects the change that she wanted to bring about. But she, in particular, all the way up until she died, just never, ever showed any doubt or remorse about what she was doing and taking it to that level. And it really bothered me because I early in the series, I was really on board with Carly, and, like, they were setting her up to be, you know, this sympathetic villain and someone who you could really, you know, connect to. Right. And then she just kind of jumped the shark and then never came back at all. Never had any moment of doubt that we got to see. Never had any moment where she was like, you know, maybe Sam is right. Like, nothing like that. And it really bothered me.
And I agree. She became a very two-dimensional villain towards the end of it all. Yeah. And that's not what I was going for. I really thought they were going to make her a little more three-dimensional, giving her more, like you said, more of that sympathy of, like, maybe, like, before she kills somebody, too, like, that second guessing, like, do I need to kill you, really?
Well, and okay, I'm sorry to interrupt you. No. But, so this is where I'm at, and maybe I need to adjust my expectations. So Marvel has always been known, and in the MCU is no different, but even in their comics, they've always been known as they tell the hero's journey. They tell the hero's stories. And that's how their movies have been, and that's why they've had a quote-unquote villain problem, where they haven't had a whole lot of memorable villains. And I think that maybe this was just me, maybe I shouldn't have felt this way, and maybe I need to adjust my expectations, but getting into these Disney Plus shows, it was like, man, we're going to have so much more time than just a single movie, and we're going to be able to spend more time with these villains, and so they're going to flesh them out, and they're going to give us these really great villains. And so far we've had Hayward in WandaVision, who was mustache twirly, you know, and now we've had Carly, who turned into the same two-dimensional villain, and it's just really, it's like, it's totally bugging me because they took like 5 to 6 hours to tell this story, and they still didn't flesh her out.
And you know what? I want to touch on this. I'm going to switch it to someone else just for a second. Okay. Zemo was the same way for me in this one almost. They hyped him up so much, and we got, 30 minutes?
Especially by the end. I really loved his early story. Yeah. And then the way that they took him, it was like, okay, so we're just like, I loved that he was very passionate about killing super soldiers and destroying the serum and all that stuff.
And again, you almost get behind him a little bit.
And it's like, you know, he's making his arguments, but then when he escapes, he goes right to a place where he knows he's going to get captured again.
And it's like, okay.
And it's just, it fell flat for me.
His ending in this whole series I was not happy with. That's one thing I didn't like. And I feel like him and Carly, though, they're just there to, like, hey, let's push the hero's journey, like you said.
Which is fine. Like, that's kind of a Marvel thing. Yeah. But it is,
Give me some meat behind it. You know, like I said, I love Doctor Doom because I love to hate Doctor Doom.
Sure.
Give me a villain that I just want to hate him so much.
Magneto is my all-time favorite villain in anything.
Yeah. Because
Because he has a sympathetic cause.
Yeah.
You understand why he has the perspective he has.
Yeah.
And you understand why he's willing to do the things he's willing to do.
Exactly.
Doesn't mean that you agree with him. But yeah, he's my favorite villain. And I'm like a huge Star Wars nerd. And I love Darth Vader. And I love the Emperor and everything. And Magneto's better than all of them.
Yeah.
I love Magneto.
And see, I agree with you. And I love Magneto. He's one of my favorites. But I always go to Doom because to me, Doom is that ultimate villain. Like, I'm just evil for the sake of being evil. I have evil in my heart. And if I go anime, that's why I kind of like Frieza, because Frieza's he's just a plain idiot. Or not idiot, he's just a plain ass. Because he's just evil. Why? Why not? Like, why do you choose to be evil? Well, because I have power. Okay, well, I'm just going to go destroy a planet now because I can.
And that's an interesting perspective, too.
Yeah.
And so I think my biggest problem with Carly is you set her up with this really interesting...
She could become another Magneto.
With this really interesting reason.
Yeah.
And then you just kind of don't pay that off by you never have her, again, doubt her methods. I'm not saying she should doubt her ideals.
Right.
Because she has a perspective and she should, fight for that perspective. I totally understand that. But again, the way she's going about it, like, she just very casually moved into murder and never cared or
came back
stopped.
Either,
And even, her confrontation that she has with John Walker in this one, where... she basically is like, I didn't mean to kill your friend. I don't want to kill people that don't matter. And
that line.
And it's like, what the hell? Like, that is not like. And I know they even set that up earlier in the series where she's like, she says that to Falcon, like, I don't want to kill you because killing you wouldn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, and so they kind of set that up that she has a very specific, like, I'll only kill if it matters, if it makes a difference to my cause. But then, on the other hand, like. I don't know. I just feel like that was a really weird line.
It was for me. And again, that was the line to get John Walker pissed off. That's all it was. That's literally all the line was for. Because he didn't matter. Like a twitch to him.
Also, by the way, like, a little Black Lives Matter there.
Yeah.
And you have John Walker's, saying you don't think Lamar's life mattered.
Yeah.
Which was an interesting twist because John Walker has been kind of walking white supremacy for a lot of this show. Or maybe not supremacy, walking white privilege.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Where he just, like, things come to him because, I mean, even his, at the end of this, I mean, he's a murderer on camera, and at the end of this, he's not really facing any formal consequences other than he got his title stripped, and he's not going to get benefits in retirement, but now he's going to get this side gig where he
he got the government contract now. He's still getting paid by the government.
Yeah, so...
it doesn't have a shield. Basically, all it is, he doesn't have a shield.
Yeah.
And he even comments, his suit was the same, just black.
Right.
It's like, yeah, it is. They just painted it black. That's all they did.
All right,
so who do you want to move on to now?
So the other character that I really felt I didn't like where they took her was Sharon Carter.
Oh, yeah. We talked about that. I hated it.
We talked about it last week. We talked about it even back with our episode 3 review when she was introduced and the title of the episode was Power Broker, and I was like, is she the power broker? And we both kind of were like, we don't think so, and we wouldn't like it if she was. Apparently she is.
And I don't like it.
And I don't like it. And I think there's a lot of inconsistencies with her story. If she's... here's where I'm at. If she's not playing 7 sides and ultimately still working for Nick Fury in some way, then this doesn't make any sense.
Exactly.
Because why would she lead Sam and Bucky to the scientist?
Right.
Why, knowing that could very well blow up in their face. So why would she actually lead them to the scientist who, if she's actually the one who wants all this super soldier serum, why would she lead them to the only guy that can do it? I guess unless maybe he's a plant that wasn't the actual scientist, and maybe there's a different scientist who actually did it. Like, there's so many unexplained things if she's the actual power broker that it just doesn't make any sense.
And when you think about it too, so if she's the power broker, she has ultimate power, right? Like, she's the one essentially in charge of Madripoor.
In Madripoor, yeah.
So you're telling me these hitmen, she couldn't tell them, like, hey, just go away for a little while.
Then on top of clearly that... she did.
No, she murdered a bunch of them.
Well, no. Okay, so... when she showed up to save them, nobody else showed up.
Right.
Then they were in Hightown and apparently just at a party and there was nothing there. Yeah. So she clearly called them off for that time.
But then called them back for the...
But then, called them back so that she could have the cover of People Are After Us.
I'll give you that maybe.
It's just so weird.
It is. And I'll give you that maybe, but then you're going to have a guy with the rocket launchers to potentially accidentally kill you. Because, I mean, that's just overkill. Like, okay, these guys I would understand. Like, okay, a few of them I'm just going to murder. They're like little henchmen. I can kill them.
I don't know.
I'm going to have a guy with a bazooka shoot this thing, though. I'm going to be in it, too. I might die. but I'm the power broker, so I should plan. No, that's too much for me.
I agree.
And again, I
agree.
Now, we both don't like it. In the comics, when she killed Captain America, she did kill Captain America.
She was like
25.
controlled by like Red Skull, right?
Yeah. Okay. So maybe it's that. Maybe we're getting somebody controlling her. I don't know. I know you said maybe she's a Skrull, but she got shot and is bleeding red.
Yeah, it doesn't
and
seem
Skrull
like
blood
she's a Skrull.
doesn't change color. Skrull blood's going to stay Skrull blood, unfortunately.
Right. Yeah.
And it's plus in a weakened state like that, they usually turn back to a Skrull.
Right.
So I have to write off Skrull that she's not.
Yeah, I don't think she's a Skrull.
I'm gonna say she's either being mind controlled by. Now this would be cool if she is, because then you can bring in AIM, and maybe it's AIM controlling her, and you got MODOK just pulling the strings.
I don't
somehow.
think you can do that after the series because they didn't give us any hints to that.
No, they didn't.
They literally presented her and said she is the power broker.
Yeah.
And so like if you're gonna go back and retcon this through another series, I think the only way you can do it is to say, she was playing both sides and she's working for, Shield, Nick Fury, something like that.
Yeah, Nick Fury or what's her name?
Maria Hill.
No, the girl that was John Walker.
Contessa Valentina.
Yeah, Valentine. Elaine from Seinfeld.
Yeah, which certainly she could be. And in the comics, that character is a Shield agent, and so very possible that she was a Shield agent at the same time Sharon was, and so they are working together. And maybe that phone call at the end is when she was talking to her, but it doesn't seem like it was me talking to her because she seems to already have all the government secrets. So what does she need Sharon to get that stuff for
exactly.
her?
And she seems to know more than like the Senate.
Right.
She was already like
so
the
there's
Shield
somebody else she's talking to on the phone.
I wasn't.
I didn't like that where that storyline ended.
Or Captain America has another superpower. He steals people's good.
Yeah.
When he kisses them.
Let's not do that. That is where my ultimate issue with it is.
Really?
Is that we're introduced. With Sharon. I'm saying is we're introduced to her in Winter Soldier as Steve Rogers' neighbor, who then is Agent Carter. She's very loyal to Shield, and even that moment at the end where Captain America gives his great speech, whatever, like Hydra's infiltrated us and like all that stuff, and she fights Hydra. Like that's like she's she is loyal to Captain America, and then after that she ends up working for I think the CIA. And in Civil War, she keeps on helping Captain America. She helps.
She believes in him.
She lets him she flips on the video so that he can watch what's going on between Bucky and Zemo when they don't know it's Zemo in the interrogation room. She helps. She's the one that gives him the tip that leads him to Bucky. She's the one that brings Falcon and Captain America their equipment back, and that's what ends up getting her on the run. And I can understand that she might be bitter about that because she has to go on the run. Yeah. And, like Captain America also went on the run. So it's not like he could have helped her. And then he came back and, obviously when he came back, it was Infinity War and he had to fight Thanos. And then the 5-year thing happened and everybody thought Sharon was blipped away, whether she was or not. Yeah. I think they thought she was dead. Yeah. And then Endgame happened, and somewhere in there, Sam, Bucky, anybody, those people, they got their pardons. So you think why Sharon didn't, we don't know. But she, I can understand her being, bitter about being left behind. But I'm also, it just feels. Did you reach out? It feels so weird that she had such a huge character turn.
Yeah, it's odd because again, Captain can never help her. Cap is out because even in Infinity War, we get Senator Ross at that point. He's like, arrest those people, and War Machine's like, yeah, whatever, go away. Mm-hmm. So even through Infinity War, we know Cap couldn't help her. Right. But like you said, blip away. Why didn't she ever reach out to Steve, knowing Steve's still alive? Now, if she blipped away, okay, that makes sense. But then you're gonna bring her back immediately as a power broker? No. So obviously,
so clearly she did there. Not blip.
So if she was there, she should have reached out to Steve because obviously Steve had a pardon right after the Infinity War. So it's like, why didn't you?
Maybe Ross got blipped.
Right, Ross went away too. Maybe, who knows? But it's like Steve got a pardon because he was still able to do stuff. He was holding AA meetings essentially, or something like, I don't know what they were called, but like an AA meeting.
Yeah, clearly whatever happened after Thanos, it was like everybody was like, okay, we're not going to be pissed off at Captain America.
Yeah,
anymore.
So why not say, oh yeah, you know what, Sharon's with me, so pardon her too. It's like, okay, well cool, like you're Captain America, we're going to pardon her too, whatever. Right. So yeah, obviously she was here, because we can't say she was blipped back, because you're going to tell me what, like, because this is supposed to be only a few months afterwards, right?
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be like 6 months.
Yeah, so in 6 months she rose to power in Madripoor and became the power... No. It's 5 years. We're going to give her 5.5 years, roughly.
Yeah. Well, plus on top of that, the few years from Civil War.
Yeah, so it could be even longer.
It's really been like 8 years.
So, I mean, yeah, it makes sense now. She rose to power, essentially. Which, like, okay, but at the same time... No one noticed her, like, rising to power. Like, Cap wasn't like, hey, are you doing okay? Or Falcon.
I don't know.
Black Widow. And it's
It's frustrating because they don't explore why she became this way.
You get the one line.
That's
it.
Well, we get the stuff in episode 3 where she's like, you know, like kind of chastising Sam for still believing in heroes. Yeah. Basically. And so you're going, oh, wow, that's an interesting perspective for this character to have. Mm-hmm. And that's the only hint they give to why she became this person. It was clearly set up from that episode on, even if we didn't want to believe it, that she was the power broker. Yeah. And then we have that happen in this scene when she finally confronts Carly. Right. And Batroc shows up, you know, the three of them. So really, those are the things I don't like. Yeah. Let's move on.
Well, I want to comment on Zemo real quick.
Okay.
I didn't like his scene in this film. I get what it was for.
At the end.
Or the end, yeah. So we got the scene where the last of the super soldiers are arrested. They're throwing him in the car. And you get one soldier telling them, you know, one world, one people, or whatever, the line.
Like, he's clearly, you know, part of their cause.
Yeah, he's going to help them. And they're like, yeah, we got someone that's going to get us out. And then poof, just blows it up. It's the butler. Yep. That's Zemo's butler.
Zemo's butler.
Blows up the thing. Kills all the rest of the super soldiers. Somehow I let Zemo know. Somehow Zemo is still getting access to information.
He's a rich prisoner, so he's got a news feed. He gets a TV. He can watch CNN. I don't know.
Guess so. And then the smile on him, and I'm like, I like that. That's a perfect ending for Zemo. Don't get me wrong. Zemo wanted them dead. Right. He did not change. Yeah, right. He did not change anything. Yeah. But this whole time, and again, maybe it was the pandemic. Maybe it was Chadwick dying. I don't know what caused it, but we were getting so much hype that Zemo was going to be there. Zemo's the villain. Even at San Diego Comic-Con, he came out in the mask on the big screen, and he's like talking an evil villain speech to Sam and Bucky, who are just the actors.
He did not go villainous in this episode in this show.
I was wanting that because it was the build-up, like we're gonna see evil Zemo, and it's like no, we saw party Zemo, like he's gonna go dancing, and. Now, don't get me wrong, I did like that he never changed, really. Like, you're a super soldier? I'm going to kill you. Oh, you're creating super soldiers? I'm going to kill you because that's who I am. I don't want super soldiers. Yeah. And he never strayed from that, and I'm glad they didn't change that part. But nothing ever screamed like the villain that we were led to believe. And again, maybe pandemic. And I really think Chadwick was supposed to be part of this. Again, with the whole Wakanda thing. And if he was, well, his passing didn't help at all. They had to rewrite, reshoot, maybe.
Yeah, who knows?
I don't know. I wasn't happy with what they did. I'm wanting more Zemo, though. I do want to see him come out.
And I'm sure he will.
I hope so.
I'm sure
he's not dead. So
no, like they will definitely bring back Zemo, and they will definitely bring back Dan Brule, and they might even bring him back in the next project that includes our new Captain America, which was also announced today.
Oh, it's already officially announced. I couldn't remember.
It wasn't officially announced, but. It was reported that there's already a new Captain America in development in terms of movie.
4.
And it's also, I think it's being written by
the showrunner.
The showrunner of this series.
And that'll be good. He'll have more time to tell another story, and maybe he'll flesh out Zemo more.
And
maybe
honestly,
we'll get a lot more.
We might get another mini-series in addition to that movie also. We don't really know. I mean... There's speculation that there could be a season 2 of this show,
and I would be happy with that,
as well as the movie. So I'd be on board for that.
I would too. So go into the good now.
All right. So the good stuff. Everything with Sam.
Yes. Period.
It was so good the way he showed up. Like throwing the shield through the window and then flying in and just knocking out a Flag Smasher immediately. Then he has his fight with Batroc. And he just, they kind of go toe to toe for a while, and then he's just like, "Peace out." Like, I'm going off. The helicopter chase was
amazing,
fantastic.
I loved it.
I loved every moment. I loved him saving the two people from the other helicopter.
Yes,
and like that moment where he like kind of. Did
that
the
was
protection.
cool looking.
It was so cool. And like the helicopter like glanced off, clearly a vibranium suit.
Oh yeah.
100%. That was super cool. The way he was like communicating with the person on the inside of the helicopter to be like, I'm gonna take this guy out, and that move of like blowing off the door, plowing through, and then like
the girl coming to grab it.
Like that was so cool. I loved it.
And I love Red Wing is back. He's alive again, and he has two like little Red Wings now.
Yeah.
When he was pushing the truck up.
Yeah.
So I really loved it. The suit looks like the comic to me. That looked like they just took it straight from the comic and said, "Here you go,
I think
Sam."
they added a little bit of stuff on the wings.
Yeah, that too.
But I loved it all. I thought it was a great looking suit.
It was beautiful. I loved.
Looked great in action. Everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I did like that. Someone commented online that Sam never won a fight. Whenever we watch the series, he's never, even in the movies, he's technically never won a fight. Hand to hand. So I was like, he finally won one. Because, Ant-Man's beaten him. Spider-Man beat him. This whole series up till, like, right about now, he's been getting his ass kicked. When else did he come out?
I mean, him and Bucky beat up John Walker.
But he got his ass kicked, too, in that one, kind of. I mean, he was laid out for a second.
He's also fighting a super soldier.
Exactly. Like, poor Sam, but he finally got some wins.
Which fight did he win in this one? Which hand-to-hand fight did he win in this episode?
Well, he did beat, what's his face? The guy who the...
Batroc?
Batroc, yeah. He did beat him.
Not really.
No.
Like, they went toe-to-toe and then he pieced out. Like, he didn't really defeat him. Like, he was just like, I got more important things to do. Like, I'm out of here.
He beat... No, did he beat... I'm trying to think. Hold on.
I don't think he actually...
No, he beat the
fight
first
Harley.
He beat the first Flag Smasher, the one he threw the shield into. He took that one out.
That is true.
I got one for you.
But that guy did not know that there was a fight happening. He just got knocked out immediately.
He didn't know what was happening. He's like, bam, my arm's broke because the shield and then smacked, and he's out cold.
He knocked the guy out of the helicopter.
Yeah, see, there's two.
But, again,
but he didn't beat him.
Wasn't
an
actual fight. He just, plowed through him into the...
Well, he had to get him out of the Hudson. Because they said they found him later down. Can you go help take him out?
Right.
So we'll say off camera he won one. So you got two.
And I think that's the fourth Flag Smasher that died. Because I think there were three that got captured.
Yeah, that got captured.
And then that must have been the fourth one that got loaded into the truck, and those ones all died.
The poor guy's like, I'm drowning. Okay, I'm okay. I'm back up, and then I blow up.
Kaboom.
You're right.
But yeah, I mean, I love the suit, the speech at the end.
Oh my god, that speech!
It was great. I loved every moment with Sam.
The speech with him, and then him and Isaiah.
Yeah, him and Isaiah, closing that up. So I had a question about this because I think it was in the last episode when he and Isaiah had their heart-to-heart, and Isaiah was very clear, like, leave me dead. Mm-hmm. So I do have some, I guess, like, just questions about Sam, creating the Smithsonian exhibit, and we don't know.
Right.
Like, how much detail was there? I have to believe that it wasn't like, and he's still alive, because that's going to put a target on his back again, because he has the super soldier serum. So I have to imagine this is more just telling the story of who he was and what happened to him up until the moment of his presumed death.
Yeah.
But yeah, that struck me as very odd that he was very explicit, leave me dead, and Sam just kind of was like, no.
Well, I mean, we do know it's part of the Captain America exhibit, which now we know Captain America is dead, so this exhibit is to memorialize him. So
do we know that?
We assume it, I guess.
They keep just saying he's gone, and we get another I thought he was on the moon joke in this episode. I mean, like, who knows? Is he on the moon?
He's on the moon.
Maybe
he's with the Inhumans on the dark side of the moon.
I have no idea. So, yeah.
He's with Nick Fury and Tahiti.
Who knows?
I mean, maybe, and that's true. And I did feel a little off with that, but what made me...
It was beautiful.
It was beautiful.
And Isaiah accepted it. Exactly. And so in that moment, we accept it too, but I just didn't think it was odd.
It was a little odd. But I try to play it off is that like what you had told me a few episodes ago, Sam worked with people with PTSD.
PTSD, yeah.
And so maybe, he obviously knows how to talk to people. He knows how to not get inside your head, but to comfort you.
Yeah.
And I think in the end, he got to Isaiah because Isaiah told him no black man would ever want to hold the shield.
Yeah.
And what did Sam do? Held the shield.
Yeah.
And I mean, think it made Isaiah think a little bit more.
That speech, seeing, Isaiah's reaction to it, seeing, Torres' reaction to it, you see even John Walker's reaction to it, where he's...
Man, John Walker gave you the best look, though.
He accepts... In that moment, he accepts Sam is Captain America. Mm-hmm. And so I really liked that he arrived at that moment. He's still a little bit unhinged. Yeah. He's still going to be an anti-hero. He's not necessarily going to be, our favorite guy. But
you never know.
I love that he... he gets presented with a choice, and he has to make it, and he makes... And I mean, I said it out loud as I was watching the episode. I was like, what are you going to choose, John? You're going to choose to save people, or you're going to choose revenge?
And he chose to save.
And he chose to save people, which I think is the right choice for the character. I think it's the right choice for the show. I thought it worked well.
It was perfect, I think. Because, again, as much as he hates what's going on, he is still a soldier first. He is still... I took an oath to keep American citizens safe, to keep our country safe and free, so he's going to save everybody. And, of course, that goes to wherever he goes. Whether you are an American citizen, as long as you are a civilian, his job is to protect you.
Sure.
And I did now I want to talk about John Walker real quick. He didn't really throw that shield. He threw it once and it didn't do crap.
Threw it once, it didn't do crap, and from that point forward, he's like,
shield
I'm going to use it to bash people with it, and I love that it just gets destroyed.
Dude, that first punch, how it dents in, I don't know if you saw that real quick. I was like, oh, they are showing that this is not vibranium.
This is not anything special. He literally made this in his garage.
Yeah, steel or
and
aluminum or whatever.
And it's going to get destroyed by super soldiers.
Exactly, and it did. But he did it, like you said, it was very much, he was going to bash people with it, and he did. That's
well, and I think it's really important, we talked about this in the last episode also, the way that the shield is used. Steve mostly used it as a defensive protection weapon. He threw it at people also.
Yeah.
But, it was just a very different vibe as opposed to John, where it was definitely more... Outside of that first time where he saved Lamar with it, after that it was almost exclusively used as a weapon. Yeah. And then it definitely used to kill someone. And we see Sam, again, mostly using it in a defensive manner, including in that fight that he has with Carly, where he's not really fighting. And I want to get to that, but let's finish the John Walker story.
I just want to... Because John Walker, I think, had a very good storyline. I think he wrapped up perfectly. Mm-hmm. The shield's destroyed at the end of it.
Yeah,
he does save a van full of hostages. He does make the right choice. In the end of the day, he made the right choice, and I think John Walker did a great job. I think the actor did a great job.
Yeah, Wyatt Russell.
Yeah. We hated him throughout this whole part as Captain America, and that's why I love hating a character, because that's what you should be doing. Yeah. But at the end of this, I was like, you got one in the win column now. I feel good for John Walker. I hope we do see him in more, maybe another Captain America movie or another Falcon Winter Soldier series.
And again, I think it was important for him to accept that Sam is a better Captain America than he was.
Yeah.
And then he can accept his next role, which is going to be U.S. Agent. Yep. Which I like.
Yes, exactly.
But all right, let's talk a little bit about Bucky. So I loved the moment with Bucky where he's catching up to them and he's fighting people, and then you have Carly being give him someone to save. Which I thought was really, just like you talked about with John Walker, that mentality, you gotta save people. That effectively distracted Bucky, to go save people. Yeah. I love Bucky on the phone with Carly trying to talk her down. And you can tell he's not Steve. He's not Sam. He can't do that. Steve was known for all the speeches. He could give all the speeches. Sam gives can really connect with people and can have those conversations. And Bucky's just trying to be don't kill, because I've done it and it's not good.
It's not a good thing. I don't know how to do these speeches. I'm usually a mile away sniping somebody's head off, so I don't know.
And then you have Carly just being well, thanks for standing still while I talk to you.
Exactly. I was damn, Bucky. Because I was why is he just standing there? He was supposed to follow the people and sharing comments on it. You let him get away
she's you have one job, Bucky.
And he just like showed up and take your guy out.
Yeah, which again, circle back to Sharon real quick.
Yeah,
she killed the one dude with the super soldier serum.
Yeah,
again, like she just. It doesn't make
no
any
remorse.
sense.
No remorse. And that was like a poison, too.
It doesn't make any sense that she's the person who actually wants the super soldier serum. All of her actions led to the scientists getting killed, led to the lab getting blown up, led to several of these flag smashers dying. Like it doesn't make any sense. All right.
Yeah. Instead of like grabbing their blood and then trying to like reverse engineer. Yeah.
I'm sorry. It just doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't. Again, I don't think she was done right.
It's got to be something else.
So Bucky saves everybody.
Yeah.
The hostage, he saves them. He tells Sam that was a good speech at the end of it too. Like
I love their dynamic once again.
Yes, I loved it so much. I love them two together. I want to see more.
Well, I love that he's like, sorry, I was texting. I only caught the where you're like black guy with the stars and stripes or whatever. Like that was great.
That's so messed up, Bucky. Like.
Well, but they have that friendship.
When they showed Bucky though listening to the speech, I felt like he saw Steve for that moment, and at least that's the look the actor gave.
Yeah, sure.
And I was like, I feel like Bucky's realizing that Sam is like another Steve.
Yep.
And I loved that part. And then when Bucky gets his closure, he goes and finally talks to. I'm not gonna try to say his name because I can't remember how to pronounce it.
I thought you were actually gonna try. When you said not gonna try, I was like, is it Nakatashi or something like that?
Nope.
I don't
know.
Not touching that one.
But he does fine, and we threw that out there. We knew this was going to happen.
Yeah, and I was surprised we got as much as we did. I thought they were just going to do the closed door thing.
Yep.
But he did, he had that emotional moment where he said he was murdered. It was me. First he said it was the Winter Soldier,
which was me.
And you could see the confusion. And then he just kind of, said, I didn't have a choice. And they don't really give you any more.
Yeah.
Which I think I was okay with. I would have liked a little bit more, but I'm glad we got as much as we got.
I would like to see if the guy forgave him or not. Because the next scene we see is Bucky walks by the bar, the restaurant, and the girl's pouring him some sake or some tea or something.
Yeah.
She sees him, and she reacts kindly, obviously.
Yeah, positively.
But the guy doesn't see him.
Right.
So I'm like, I would have loved to see him at least turn and smile and be like, kind of like that, I forgave you smile.
Or just like a head nod.
Like, you're okay. Like, we're okay.
Yeah.
Like, that's fine. Thank you for telling me. And then he sends the book with the thank you letter to the I think she was a psychiatrist, right?
Yeah,
or
therapist, whatever she was, yeah.
She sends it, and all the names are marked off in the list, including Zemo's. Zemo not scratch his own name out.
Yeah.
And we see the circle around his name, and so he finally has his closure, I think.
Yep.
He finally can put this PTSD stuff behind him.
Yeah, I think he's putting the Winter Soldier behind him, which is really interesting because at the end of this episode, we get a title change.
Yes. Captain America.
Instead of being the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it's Captain America and the Winter Soldier. And I think that's interesting because I felt like at the end of this episode, even though he didn't get a new title, he left behind the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
So, I understand why they didn't change it. Obviously, the emphasis was on Captain America, was on Sam becoming this Captain America. But I did feel like by the end of the series, both of them became someone different.
And I really wish it would have said Captain America and Bucky. And that would have been a throw to the comics. Yeah. It would have been perfect because now he's let go of everything. Or Captain America, Bucky and Sarah. Stop pushing that.
Yep. I did love that scene at the barbecue, whatever. He's like holding, like the kids are hanging on his arm. He's totally talking to Sarah in that.
Yeah, he is.
Just FYI.
Well, the first thing he does when he comes in is he's playing with the kids, holding the cake, and they're like faking punching him, and he's playing with them, and it's like
everybody,
he's waiting for stepdad time.
I'm not saying that I made my connection with my stepdaughter to get in. No, I'm just.
You got the kids gotta like you too, That's how it works, man.
It's true.
And then, I was like, dang. But yeah, and I love how he was doing that because it's just like, nonchalant. Like, I'm the strong. Don't worry. I'm
a super soldier with a vibranium arm. What do you want?
What do you want me to do? What do you want?
It's cool.
106 years old. I know some tricks. Oh my god. Yeah, I loved it. I love the party scene too at the end, like where Sam and Bucky are treated like celebrities now. Finally, like it's not like we're sidekicks anymore. Like they finally stepped into the limelight. They're finally there.
And it feels like I love that by the end of this, they have that strong relationship where they're they're not just the two friends of Steve. They're their own friends. They're They have their own relationship that they've built together. They clearly, respect one another. Mm-hmm. They clearly, have a better understanding of each other. And I really like where this episode ended for them. Again, I like where it ended for John. I was a little bit surprised that we didn't get more of Torres. All we got was just him watching the speech and obviously positively reacting to it. And I think they are setting up that he is going to become some Falcon. Because in the comics, that's what happens. That character becomes the Falcon when Sam takes on the mantle of Captain America. So I think they are setting that up.
I hope so.
I was a little bit surprised we didn't get more. Honestly, I was surprised we only had one post-credit scene, and it was the Sharon scene. Like that, really, I was expecting more.
Same.
And I also, I'll be, like we already talked about, like that I didn't like that. That ended up leaving a bad taste in my mouth. It really did. Because that was the last thing we saw on screen was Sharon, like, on the phone,
with
like,
somebody.
Being evil. And I was like, that's not what I wanted out of this show.
It's not, because again, for me...
We already covered it. We covered it. Let's get out of here. We didn't cover it. So
we got Bucky, we got Sam, we
Captain
got
America and the Winter Soldier. I loved their dynamic. I loved where they ended. I think the show had some really strong moments again. The speech was really great. Definitely the stuff with Isaiah was really great. I really like the grandson of Isaiah, who in the comics becomes Patriot.
Iron Patriot.
I think he's just Patriot.
That's right. Iron Patriot's Norman Osborn. Never mind.
And like he only had a few scenes, but I always enjoyed him in those scenes.
I liked
him.
Enthusiastic he is.
Yeah.
Obviously, he loves Isaiah. He loves his grandfather and all that. So I do like that we're seeing him a little bit, but right now, because the story's not about him yet, but we're seeing glimpses of him.
Yeah.
We haven't seen if he has any superpowers yet, because and he has it in his blood.
Maybe we don't know when he was conceived, or when Isaiah's the parent of this kid was conceived. Because honestly, we don't know. We don't know.
Yeah, that's true. You got me there. But he could have that super soldier serum blood. He could have that, and honestly, I mean, when we think to Isaiah's story, I think that clearly the Isaiah we meet earlier in the episode, his son would never take up that type of mantle. Or his grandson would never take up that type of mantle. But by the end of the episode, or the series, where he's talking to Sam and he's like, "You're special. Like, you made me change my mind about this." I think, and then having the exhibit at the Smithsonian, those are the type of things. Those are the things you have to establish in order for that character to say, "I'm going to, I'm going to pick up a shield.
I'm going to whatever it is. I'm going to pick up." This mantle of being a superhero and, fighting for people.
Exactly.
Because definitely, the way we're introduced to Isaiah early in the series, there's no way his grandson, who clearly loves his grandfather, would do that. And so it required that transformation in Isaiah, and Sam was the one that brought that out.
And I think you're right, but I do think that the wanting to protect people is there because he wanted to protect his dad, his granddad. He's like, no, you don't want to talk to him. He's not here. I don't know what you're talking about. Because he was trying to protect him. So I like that we already see some of that protection, like, I'm going to help the people kind of thing. So I'm curious if we will see him in Young Avengers, because that's the next thing that they suppose they're going to go for, is get all these younger ones in. And so he's already set up, and he already has some good role models. He has Isaiah now. He has Sam.
Yep.
We assume Bucky. Bucky's going to be with Sam. So we got 3 strong people right there that can help teach him how to use the shield, how to become whatever he wants to be.
And I want to touch on the scene, the final. This is once again, this is where the show, I think, dropped the ball just a little bit.
Okay.
Is that final confrontation between Carly and Sam, where it had shades of the Winter Soldier. Where, after Steve accomplishes the mission of getting all the chips in, whatever, he stops fighting back. Like, up till that point, he's got his mission that he's going to do. But once he completes the mission, like, Bucky is just laying into him.
Yeah.
And he's, he basically is just letting it happen. He's like, I'm with you. I'm not going to fight you. I'm not going to fight you back.
Yeah.
And so you have that in this episode. Again, you have Sam saying, I'm not going to fight you, Carly. I'm not going to fight you. And she's like, hit me, like, fight me back. And whereas in Winter Soldier, Steve, like, not only was that fight way more emotionally charged because it was between 2 best friends, whereas this is just between 2 people that met each other twice.
Yeah. two people with different ideologies almost.
Yeah. We had, Steve having a personal connection that did finally sort of get through to Bucky to the point that Bucky dragged him out of the water after they fell, right? And so, Steve makes the sacrifice play, if you will, and actually gets through. And in this, once again, there's no indication that Sam is actually getting through to Carly. She just keeps coming, and she's about to kill him when Sharon, kills her. Because Sharon's the one that shoots her.
That's right,
and
Sharon
kills
her. Yeah.
And so, again, it was like, it just felt like another missed opportunity, and maybe, even with all the missteps they could have taken, they could have had her in that moment when she's about to kill Sam, and Sam says something, and you see that doubt in her eyes, and she's not going to do it, and then Sharon still kills her. Like, you could have done that even, and they still didn't. And it just, it was really frustrating once again to have, these shades of better moments with Steve as captain, where Sam didn't get that moment.
Couldn't get to that moment.
He didn't get through to Carly like Steve was able to get through to Bucky.
And I don't know if they're just trying to say, well, Steve is just that much better, or what. And I feel like Sam's just as good, though.
Yeah,
and that's that was his job after retiring. It's like that you're going to be good at it because you do it so well. You obviously, but I agree. I think we should have seen some doubt, but then at the same time, if Sharon shot her, then that would put doubt from Sam to Sharon. And then he's like, well, why did you shoot her?
Well, she doesn't have to see that she had that doubt. It could just be doubt on her face that the audience, and that Sam sees.
But Sam could get mad and be like, I got to her finally. I was getting to her. I was getting, why'd you shoot? Right. Why'd you shoot? And then you could have Sharon be like, she was about to kill you. Because that's her perspective. So you could totally play it the same way. And just have that extra added beat. Again, whatever happened with our actual COVID-19 pandemic, I think it majorly changed the story of the Flag Smashers, and it seems like that was to their detriment. Yeah, I really do agree. I really feel like it's sad that this was it. We're not going to get any more of them, because they're pretty much all gone now. Yeah, at least all the leaders are gone, and
they talk about the movement will live on without us. I mean, she does say
that. She says that, though.
So whether or not that's true...
Yeah, I mean, she says that thinking that the GRC and everything's going to keep going the way it's going, but Sam did get through, I feel like.
Sam changes. They mentioned that they didn't go forward with whatever their plan was. Our unnamed senator who's in 4 episodes, but they never give his name, he's someone. Maybe he's... Robert Kelly? Yeah. I mean, who's famous in the X-Men comics... maybe that's him, but why did we have this character for so many episodes, and the only title we ever got for him was Senator? We never get a name.
Yeah, even during the speech, he only calls him Senator.
It's very odd.
And, and I think, again, I don't think we're going to get any more Flag Smasher, especially because Sam says it the best. If you don't do something now, you're going to get a Carly 2.0, and she's going to be worse. And it's that's true. They need to do something now, and they already did. They fixed it, like you said.
We'll see.
So it's I think this is it for them. I think they're going to get swallowed up maybe by AIM or somebody else. Maybe we'll get stuff like that, Hydra Reborn kind of thing. Because Hydra never goes away in the comics. We still haven't seen any AIM yet. We still haven't seen, I'm going to just throw it out there, Doctor Doom and Latveria and all of that. We haven't seen anything else.
He's coming.
Yeah.
He's coming.
He's coming. He's eventually coming. And, maybe these people start rebuilding. Maybe, again... We don't know what's going on with Sokovia. Like Zemo said, it was war-torn. All these countries tore it apart. Maybe the Flag Smashers go into almost a no man's land kind of thing, and then Latveria does start popping up because they're like, hey, this guy's taking charge. He wants to change the world too, and they become people of Latveria. I don't know. It's going to be interesting how they're going to do this because, again, I think either we're never ever going to hear about this again, or somehow we'll hear it as a one-liner here that AIM brought him in, or this country brought him in, and that's where it's going to stop.
I mean, it's going to depend a lot on where they want to go with these characters. Because if the Flag Smashers come up again, it's going to have to be Sam and Bucky that are involved.
It has to be Sam and Bucky.
So, but are we going to get another series where we continue on this storyline? I have a feeling their next group that they're going to fight, whether it be the Avengers or whether it be Sam, is we're gonna end up against either the Thunderbolts or the Dark Avengers, something like that.
I guess my thing is too, if you look at the Flag Smashers right now too, all the ones who've been introduced are now dead.
Correct.
So it's like we would literally have to introduce a whole new group of people.
Right.
And it's not like Carly's like, oh, I had an apprentice or my best, like one of them got away. No, it's literally Zemo blew up the van, killing all of them, and Carly got shot. Everyone else that had the serum is dead, and the other ones were just helpers that would help hide them and move them around. Correct. So it's like there's no one left. Yeah, so I don't think they would.
At this point, to our knowledge, the only people in the MCU that have super soldier serum are Bucky, John Walker, Isaiah Bradley, and a Cap that may or may not be alive. And Steve Rogers.
May not be alive. I mean, I'm going to throw it out there. We still don't know if the grandson has it because, again, whenever he was conceived, he may or may not have the serum in his blood.
Right.
So we know
if Isaiah
did you say John
had his. I did say John.
Okay, sorry.
Yes.
I'm trying to think if there's anyone we're missing.
Nope. That's it. Those
technically, the Hulk. Abomination. He's still around too.
Yeah. Okay. Hulk and Abomination both have a version
of it
of the super soldiers.
Because rumors are that Tim Roth is coming back as Abomination.
Yeah. I mean, it's all but confirmed that he's coming back in She-Hulk.
Yeah. So, she doesn't have a serum though, right?
At this point, we haven't been introduced to her.
That's true.
In the comics, she gets her powers through a blood transfusion
from Bruce. That's right.
With Bruce. So
that's right.
Whether or not that happens, and
we have rough 5 with the actual serum and 2 with alternate versions of the serum. 4 to 5 with the serum because, like I said, we don't know where the grandson stands yet. Yep. And then A-Bomb or Abomination and Hulk. So it's like, but obviously somebody can make it. I mean, one guy already did, so...
Yeah, he reverse engineered it. Will somebody else be able to? I mean, it feels like in the comics, the super soldier serum never goes away. There's always somebody that's able to do it.
There's like thousands of super soldiers
and
in
again,
the comics.
If Sharon is actually the power broker and actually the one that was developing the super soldier serum and all that stuff, then either she's a colossal idiot...
Oh, yeah.
Or... that doctor and that lab were fake.
Yeah.
Because those are the only 2 options. You cannot lead them directly to a place and then blow it up if you're actually... because that guy was the only guy that could make more.
According to him. Now, we don't know if Sharon has all his records, all his files. Because if she does have it off on a black site, somewhere it's like all his notes, everything... She could really make it on her own, just getting a scientist like, hey, here's all the notes, make it.
Hey, we have a black Captain America, and that's awesome. Yeah. Let's end the episode there. I don't want to talk about any more negative about
So no more negative. So, Doctor Doom will be coming out soon. Hey. Mephisto is in 10 rings, we found out.
Yes, correct. If you look at Shang-Chi's shirt,
it's an M. And his little thing makes Mephisto, and then it ties it to this, and the O spell Doom out.
Right, all the rings that are behind him, it's Doom.
The M's just offside, you can't see it. And one ring's a little dented, so it looks like a D. We're singing theme song now. So yeah, guys, but we're going to end it here. There's a lot to cover.
Doctor Doom is coming out in the Fantastic Four movie and not before. Just so you know.
He's coming out before. He's the engineer, really.
Nope.
So... guys, on that note, guys, we do have fun doing these. Let us know what you think down below of all of them. If you enjoy these reviews as well, we'll keep doing them.
We're going to be off for a while. We're going to be off for a while because Loki's not coming back out for another month and a half.
Yeah, for reviews, we'll be out for a while. Maybe we'll do some other stuff here and there.
Yeah.
So, guys, definitely let us know what you think of the whole series, what you liked out of it. I thought it was a great series. Again, this episode, like Robert said, I agree with him a lot. It did fall short. What do you think, though?
Yeah. Ultimately, the villain parts are what fell behind for me. But the heroic stuff with Sam and Bucky and the anti-hero stuff with John, I thought was all really well done.
Yeah. That's where I'm at. I agree. I agree with you 100%. So we'll see where the series goes and Captain America 4 or maybe a season 2 beforehand. So let us know everything. Everyone get your geek on. Stay geeky. Have a good one.